Thank you. Isn't it cute that Maddie thinks that I invited her here about sharks being heroes? I asked all the speakers to think about how their talks would both inspire and instruct. And I think that's a really important part of any kind of conference. You don't want just to have great stories, you want to have something at the end to say, okay, that's what I can do. There's a lot of things that stop us from taking that step, from doing that thing. And we heard a lot of stories today about people that struggled with that. They didn't want to do it and they ended up doing it. There's the bystander effect that stops us from stepping up to save someone who's being assaulted. There's the power of the group that keeps us in, tells us we shouldn't leave the group. There's the power of following others' behaviours, so if no one else is helping, it's very difficult for us to help. There's lots of reasons for us to not help, and we can justify them all. And a lot of the times we tell ourselves that we don't have the power to make change. We don't have permission. And the truth is we do. We have both of those. A couple of months ago, I guess it was, I was speaking at Newcombe Secondary College and talked to the whole school and then did a workshop with a small group. And I was asking them what the problems were at the school and what they could do to change. And so many of them said, we can't change anything. We're just the kids. They were all annoyed by their school uniform policies. Something about the new skirt and it was too short and something. I said, so do something about it. I said, oh, we can't do anything. I said, well, think about who's in charge of the uniform. Is it the principal? Is it, find out who it is. Go to them. They said, oh, well, they're not going to do what we said. People don't think they have permission. I said, if all of you guys organised and 600 of you turned up to school not wearing your uniform one day, the principal's going to take notice. You're going to make change. And it's a lot what Chris was talking about earlier. When the common people stand up, we outnumber people in a big way. So you do have permission. You have my permission to go and change something. You also have power, and the power comes in lots of different ways. There's the power of symbols. People use symbols to communicate a message. One of Chantel's big success stories is to do it in a dress. The news doesn't want to cover a story about a Melbourne girl trying to help girls in Africa. They want to cover a story about people dressing up in school dresses and surfing and skydiving. The symbol is what associates people with that message. That's symbols, the power of them. The other power that we have is the power of real cool. We struggle so much to be cool, to be liked by other people. This is where that group think comes in, that group dynamic. We want to be like everyone, we want to fit in. But real cool people don't care about that. And what happens is people end up wanting to be like them, even though they're not trying to get people to like them. Phil Zimbardo is a good example of that. He doesn't try, he's just a nice guy. And I've been spending time with him this week, and lots of people have been coming up and wanting autographs and getting selfies, and some of them wanted them from him as well. But it's all because Phil is just an open guy. How many leading psychologists can you walk up to and get a hug from? He's just a normal guy, he has real cool. When I was at school, there's a girl named Jodie who I looked at as someone who just did not do what everyone else was doing to fit in. And she liked music. And when she liked a band, it was usually a band that no one had ever heard of. But within a couple of weeks, everyone else was listening to that band as well. People wanted to be around Jodie because she wasn't trying to be like everybody else. So don't try to be like everybody else. Be you, and people are going to appreciate that. And the last power that we have is the power of action. When we take action, we show that we care. Those kids that we've seen today that have been taken care of by people like Chantel, by Karen, they feel that care when you take action. And action can be tough. As I said, there's lots of pressures that stop us from doing this stuff. So one of the things I want to leave with you with is a couple of ideas on what you can do every day to prepare for heroism. I like to think about it as a training program. One of the things you can do is practice standing out of the crowd. In your everyday life, do something that makes people look at you, stare at you, laugh at you, like wearing orange pants. Usually, and anyone that's been around this week will see that I'm always wearing jeans and a black shirt. That's all I wear. And a couple of years ago, my daughter, while she was getting dressed in one of her incredible outfits, said to me, "Dad, you're really boring." And it's true. I am boring. And that's why wearing orange pants is a big deal. I don't like doing it. I feel like everybody's looking at me, laughing at me, pointing at me, recording video of me. But it makes me uncomfortable. So it makes me comfortable with being uncomfortable. And if you're comfortable with being uncomfortable, you're going to be the kind of person who steps out of the crowd to help. The kind of person who doesn't worry about what everyone's going to think about them. Another thing you can do is to practice. Do little good things every day. Think about ways that you can pick up papers or you can pay a compliment. Those things are going to get you into practice for a time when you have a big need. Someone has a big need of you. So if you practice doing things for other people, when a big one comes up, you're going to be ready to go. There must be a few other things I must have to say. Another practice that you can do is to imagine yourself as a hero. Ben was talking about reading stories and having that personal experience with those stories. Well, it can happen when you're watching the news as well. How many of you saw the story about the man who jumped on the suicide bomber in Beirut, saved hundreds of people's lives? And how many of you people, when you saw that story, said, "What would I have done?" It's an important question. Imagining yourself to be a hero. Imagining yourself to be someone who takes action. When you see these stories, think, what would I do? When I was at camp in year 9, we were on a hike through a valley, kind of an all-day hike. None of us knew where we were. And the whole time, this was probably the first year of my intense crush on a girl called Langdon, I was thinking, man, what could happen to Langdon where I could rush in and save her? And I spent hours doing this. It's like, well, what if she climbed up there and got stuck? I'd go up there, across the top, get down and save her. And, life would have been perfect after that. And at lunch, when we took a break, there was a snap as we began to start. And our American PE teacher's ankle, I think, broke. And it wasn't Langdon, but it was like, wow, something just happened. And a group of us got over there, made a stretcher out of, I can't even remember what, sticks and somethings, and carried her up the side of the valley and took her back. I had been imagining that all day. And I did it. I was one of the people that jumped in and said, yeah, I'm going to do it. If you imagine yourself being a hero, you're going to be more likely to act heroically. So the act part is very important for me. A lot of people have talked about that today already. Taking action. Nothing changes if we sit in the group. We have to stand up out of the group and take action. One of the benefits of running a conference is that you don't have to speak the whole length at the end because things are running over. So I'm going to finish now and we're going to have a bit of a treat. I'll let Sylvia introduce. Thank you very much.
The Hero Roundtables are the global events that ask the question, what is a hero? You've just seen one hero talk. To find more and join the conversation, visit our website or social media.